My name is Bellanger, and for our project we had to choose 3 different companies. Wish I would have picked similar companies, would have made this a whole lot easier. We had to pick these 3 companies and decide on who we would provide a short-term loan to, a long-term loan to, and then which one we would buy stock into. The 3 companies I chose were GNC, which is a nutrition store, Netflix, which is an online video, movie, TV show supplier, and then Lamar, which is a huge advertising corporation, which is kind of neat because it's right there in Covington. So for our short-term loan, I decided to use the quick ratio, which measures a company's ability to meet short-term obligations with its most liquid assets, which subtracts out the inventory. Netflix's quick ratio has actually decreased over the years, which is a good and a bad thing. Again, I wish I would have chose like companies so I could compare them, but I didn't. This could just be they don't have much inventory. They have a lot of intangible assets because they are online business. GNC's, on the other hand, has increased over the year. They do have a lot of stores with a lot of cash in them. They have a lot of accounts receivable. They have a lot of liquid assets which they could quickly turn over, and if I did give them a short-term loan, they could pay me off quickly. Lamar it's an up and down ratios, and you can even look back into 2004. It goes up and then it comes back down, and then it goes up and it goes back down. So if you really look at the trend over the last years, you can see that maybe after this 0.79 it's going to jump back up and go back up, but I'm still hesitant on it. So as I said earlier, GNC is who I would provide my short-term loan to. For my long-term loan, I decided to use the cash coverage ratio, which tells you if a company can pay off its debt and its interest at a timely manner. For GNC, again, they're very steady and increasing it each year. They even made up to a 9.67 ratio. So they have been able to pay off their interest very well. Lamar, it has also increased over the years at a good stable rate, a little bit slower than GNC, but it has increased, which is still good. So I'm not too cautious about that. Netflix had a very, very high cash coverage ratio, and then it started to decline as they took on more debt, and then actually the EBITDA started to decrease also. Out of those 3 companies, again, I'm going to have to choose GNC just because it has such a higher cash coverage ratio, and it's also been steady and increasing each year. For who I would invest my stock into, of course, we're going to look at the return on equity, which shows how well a company uses investments funds to generate growth. GNC is very good at that. They have increased it every year, just like all their other ratios. Lamar, not so much. They actually went negative in 2009, 2010, but it looks like they're starting to bounce back from it. Netflix, they're pretty high. They're good at it, but it's definitely not stable, and it's still up and down. So for as far as stock goes, just looking at the ROE, I would have to invest in GNC, but I also wanted to look at the operating margin, the asset turnover, and the leverage ratio. For the operating margin, it tells you how much a company makes on each dollar of sales. So you want that to be increasing. And Netflix started off increasing, but over the last 2 years, they started to go down. Lamar has done very well. They have increased it each year. It means they are making they're making good sales and they're making good revenue from it. GNC, their operating margin is also increasing. So what I also want to see with the operating margin increasing, I want to also see the asset turnover increasing, which indicates that the efficiency in which the firm uses its assets to generate sales. And GNC has done a good job at doing that. They have increased it each year, and we want to keep on seeing that increase. Lamar has also increased it each year, not as fast, but has also increased it each year. Netflix, they're just all lost right now. They're going backwards. They're going downhill, so they're actually not doing a good job in using their assets efficiently. And I chose the leverage ratio to also go on. This we want to decrease because we want our companies to not to rely on equity as leverage for investments or debt as investments. We want it to be as low as possible. And again, Netflix is going the opposite way. They have steady increased it over the years while everything else has decreased. Lamar has done a good job. They have over the years decreased it all the way to 3.85. GNC has also decreased it over the years. It looks like they might bounce back to 3.2, but just because their operating margin has increased, their asset turnover has increased, and their leverage ratio has decreased over the years, and of course their return on equity is so high, yet again I'm going to have to go with GNC. Again, I wish I would have chose, if I had to go back and do this start over, I would choose something similar to Lamar so I can compare them. Maybe one day if I go farther in finance, I will have to. So, thank you. Have a good holidays.